this up here, as you can see. So I picked a pretty wide piece of river. It's all to do with volumes. The wider it is, the shallower it is. But I've also, as you can see over here, there's a pool over there that's quite deep. So it's actually really shallow down here. What I want is a bit like this here, I think. That is, it's got some deeper bits, but not lots of shallow bits, which means the water volume is going down nice and steadily, and therefore not going to be too deep. That's what I'm looking for. Depth is not just about how wet you get. Depth is also about the current and the force against your legs. So you want to minimise it as much as possible. Make it as easy as possible for yourself. If you're going a really narrow bird, you could even get pushed over. I'm going to use the bike to help me with that, help me with the balance as I go across. We'll see that in a second. Let's go down. So yeah, I'm down at river level, I'm just holding off, putting my feet down in that water. It's going to be cold, I know that. I've got my place to go across. What's really important is also looking downstream. So if I do slip or trip and I fall over, where am I going to go? Now, I've minimised the flow, so I'm not going to go far, but it's worth looking at it. So am I 6 feet above a waterfall or something like that? That's really important. So down here we can see there's a little hole, and there's a hollow in here as well, but the depth is not bad at all. So I've checked downstream, it's worth doing that, but I'm quite reasonably happy with that, and I reckon that'll be okay. Now, as I go across, you may or may not notice, the show there, I have got my shoes on. I've decided to keep my shoes on because they dry. These ones dry out quite quickly, and they'll dry out as I ride down. But they give me good protection from the rocks as I go. I could have gone down to my socks, or could take my socks off, but I'm not going to bother with all of that. You need to think about what you're doing. So if you're definitely going to go and do a river crossing, you might actually want to think about bringing some good sturdy sandals with you or something like that for the river crossings if you want to keep your shoes dry. I'm getting these wet. Go any second now, the squealing will start as the cold hits. There we go. So as I'm putting my foot in, what I'm looking for is the gaps between rocks. I don't want to put my feet on the rocks because they'll slip off. I want to trap them in between the rocks. Maybe trap's a strong word. Now the flow here is up to the axles, that's flooding them and that's pushing the bike. So now I'm going to turn to go sideways, point the bike upstream, and I'm using that, leaning on it a little bit to help keep my balance. So I'm more like a tripod, and I'm taking my feet one step sideways, and you'll notice the video now is all gone sideways because I'm going sideways in this heavier bit of flow here. Using the bike to lean on. Now I've got some big boulders here, so what I really want to do is be really careful and strategic about changing my balance. That's it. So I don't want to move one foot until I've got the foot before good and solid. This could be quite wet and embarrassing if I get this wrong. Put the bike in there. I'm actually trying to keep my axles out of the water so they don't get full of water, but not succeeded at that. There we go. Nice light bike. Trying to float off down the river. Last position there. I think they're not high and dry, but we're up onto these dry rocks or through here now. I'm just wedging my feet through the rocks. Not getting too excited because I'm nice and close. I'm using the bike as a tripod. Oh. There we go. Good sticky shoes. Some of that water out my axles. There we go. Should now be able to make it across. Try to keep my feet dry because they're not. There you go. So, the bike's gone back from being a useful help to make that tripod to be a big burden again. There we go. And we're up. So not too traumatic. So you can see, as wide as it was, it did get quite deep. Damn knee pads. And there you go. You need to be really careful about the amount of water you're in. So over there in the middle bit, when it came up to about knee height, that was really starting to push the bike around, lifted it up, got air in the tyres, just lifting it up and try moving it around. So I had to lean on it anyway, but that's when it was really useful to have that tripod. And that's a little introduction to river crossing if you really have to do it. Now to drain some of the water out of it.
I like that one.
It's good, wasn't it?